Chirabella Gallery, and of course they've got that, but that was last Saturday up at the Vinings Jubilee. If you get a chance, go check out the California Closet Showroom up at Vinings Jubilee. So it's a little bit after 12 o'clock, and I know there's going to be more people hopping on. So thanks everyone for joining us here, and tell us where you're from, because sometimes we get people not in Atlanta. My emails kind of go out kind of in the Southeast region. We also have a database of agents and other people that are outside of Georgia. So let us know where you're from. Good morning, everyone. Meeting from it's showing up Atlanta. Shelly, yes, we know Shelly's from Atlanta. Tell us where you're from here, and if you have any questions, go ahead and pop those maybe into the chat box as well, because we will answer some of those. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started here, because there's lots of this big presentation that Lanada has put together. And everybody, I'm Krisztina Bell with No Vacancy Home Staging. I teach a lot of home staging CE classes. I teach paint CE classes. I have a lot of collaboration marketing, and the big thing that's coming up that I'm so excited about is, can you believe it? It'll be 20 years next year that my husband and I have been running our home staging business here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we have staged thousands and thousands of vacant properties, not occupied properties. We focus specifically on vacant properties. But I love collaborating with designers. I collaborate with Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, California Closet that we heard me about, as well as women business owners. We make luncheons. I'm also a part of a local nonprofit organization in Atlanta called furnishwithlove.org. You can check it out. We decorate homes for families coming out of homeless shelter. I've done 3 homes for moms with kids, and it's just been so rewarding. We're doing our 4th project coming up, and hopefully, Lanada, maybe you can be on my volunteer list and join us, because it's like starts in the morning. We have to be done by the end of the day. The family comes back to see the big reveal, and it's just so, it's almost like a tearjerker. But the collaboration has really helped my business, but also make some really great connections. And I'm very good friends with all the stagers, majority of them here in Atlanta too. And so I thought, why not do some fun webinars about hot real estate topics too? Because sometimes people can't, they don't need to take my classes, or they just want to kind of get to know me a little more, or just be up to date on what's happening, and you know what we're doing here in Atlanta too. We are a top 10 city to move to. We're not exactly California, New York, or Texas yet, but you know, we give a little bit in the South. We do try to stay up to date in the design industry. And so today I bring in the fabulous interior designer. We've gotten to know each other. Can't remember how we met. Was it through Sherwin-Williams? I think it was through Sherwin-Williams, maybe. With Rachel.
I don't, but you know what? I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, we did, and just different events at the Atlanta Decorative Arts Center.
We go to so many events.
Yeah, we do, and there's a lot. I've met some great designers here in Atlanta, and Lanada and I, we just kind of connected and went, let's do some webinars together. So this is webinar number 2. The first one we talked, what did we talk about on the first one? I forgot.
Outdoor living spaces.
Outdoor living spaces. Yes, that was a big trend. So today's feature is going to be about functional spaces, flex spaces, but also multifunctional, because yesterday in my home staging CE class, we were talking about what is going to happen to the dining room, and all these different influencers, even on Instagram, the DIYers are like transforming these spaces into all kinds of interesting things. And so Lanada is kind of known as the She Cave lady, but I kind of introduce her as an interior designer who definitely believes in wellness living. She is into the benefits biophilic design, and the transformative power of homes as a serene sanctuary. And I love the fact you had a lot of some good exposure and some good articles this year in the Alpharetta Roswell Herald, My Home Improvement magazine, and also had a little feature there in Atlanta Homes and Lifestyle magazine. Look at you. I was so excited to see that on your website. She's from Philadelphia, people. She is a diehard Eagles fan and 76ers. She likes the beach getaways, nature walks. She's kind of likes what I like, pampering, and of course, family time is also really important. So, without further ado, Lanada, welcome. Thank you so much for doing this again. And you can hop right in whenever you want.
All right. Well, thank you, Krisztina. I enjoy doing these with you. This is our second one, as you said, and I just think we're on a roll with this, and I think we're doing a good job. So I'm really glad that we're even the first one went well, and I'm glad that this one we've got even more people on joining us. I think too, we just picked great topics to talk about, and good to know that these are hot topics in the real estate field as well. So hopefully this will be a really good discussion, presentation for the realtors, the agents that it looks like have joined us. And hopefully we've got some maybe home buyers, home sellers, or just homeowners. We're all probably in that situation anyway. So I'm hoping that we can all get something from this. As I was putting this together, I was already like thinking about another space or two in my own home. So we're going to have fun with this topic. It's a hot topic right now. Yeah, let's just go ahead and dive in. So as you said, we're talking about multifunctional living spaces. And can everyone hear me okay? Let me just start off making sure everybody can hear. Okay, yep. Good. And we can all see the screen, so we're good there.
Yep.
Wonderful. So multifunctional spaces, again, a really good topic. I'm going to move on and let's make sure there you go. So when I researched this title and this topic, I know that we're hearing more that it's called flexible living spaces. I'm going to go off camera while I present this, if that's okay. Sorry about that, but I generally like to do that. And then I'll come back at the end. Okay. Just letting you guys know. So generally it has different names. We've heard multifunctional, we've heard multi-purpose spaces, but generally the hotter title that it tends to be called now, and according to Better Homes and Gardens and Good Home Marketing magazine, is also known as flexible living spaces. So that's the kind of hot title that we're hearing lately. The flexible living space. Everyone wants to get this idea, understand the idea of what the flexible living space. And so I think that, it's good to just really define so that we all really know and understand what this is. So it's all about a customized space that easily adapts to different uses and frequently serves dual purposes. So any of those titles, of course, would be fine. You're just probably going to hear it more often referred to as flexible living spaces. So I just wanted to put that out there. So I like to start off sharing just a quick story. So I'm going to do the same with this one as I did last time. The story is about John and Lisa. Now, John and Lisa were a newlywed couple. They were excited to start their life together in a charming but modestly-sized home that they had recently purchased. And initially, the house seemed perfect for the two of them. However, as they began to settle in, they started to feel like they quickly were outgrowing their space. They loved their home dearly, but the lack of room was becoming a concern. They embarked on a quest to find a larger house that could offer them comfort and space they desired. Yet nothing they found could compare to the charm and the emotional connection that they had with their current home. Feeling really frustrated and stuck, they decided to consult a professional designer to see if there was a way to make their beloved home work for their needs. The designer, understanding their predicament, introduced them to the concept of multifunctional spaces. But creatively reimagining their existing rooms, the designer transformed their home into a versatile haven. The once underutilized guest room was transformed into a dynamic office by day and a cozy guest room by night. The dining area became a multifunctional space that served as an elegant dining room for gatherings and a quiet reading nook during quieter times. Even their living room was reconfigured and provided distinct areas for relaxation, entertainment, and work. John and Lisa were amazed at how their home had been transformed. What once felt cramped now felt spacious and adaptable. They no longer felt the need to move. Their home had evolved with them, allowing them to create new memories and grow within the same beloved walls. This transformation not only saved them the hassle of expenses and the expenses of moving, but it also reignited their love for their home, proving that with the right design, any space can meet evolving needs and aspirations. I firmly believe that. I think it's all about sometimes having the right design. But I did some more research to find out what we really want in our homes these days, what buyers are looking for, what homeowners want. And National Home Association of Home Builders and the Pro Builder helped me out with this. Home builders right now and owners want more and more for their homes to provide a sense of well-being for them and their families. I love the idea of that, of course. Home prices are rising. We know this. And the majority of home buyers, out of the majority of home buyers, 91% are willing to compromise the affordability or to afford a home. And the compromising is generally in these areas. They'll take a smaller home. They'll have a simpler, more basic interior or fewer exterior amenities. And you realtors can probably speak to this to see if this is so-called the case. But I think it's all because if they compromise on these things and they can incorporate these things later that they're really wanting. Because recent trends have shown that homeowners want kitchen islands, outdoor living spaces, as we mentioned before, privacy areas, and multifunctional home design, flexible living spaces. So that's a dying need right now. So when I thought about in my lifetime, the homes that I've had and the homes that I've seen, let's say growing up, I might be dating myself on this one, and that's fine. But what came to mind is what I used to see on TV growing up and watching all the time was the Brady Bunch. And I thought about how that home in the Brady Bunch was designed, how it really provided the ultimate flexibility or multi-purpose living space for that family. You take the entryway, the great room that existed there where they could gather at the top photo, they could gather, they could talk, have discussions, they could entertain guests as they came in. They could also host dinners. They would have family dinner there every evening at the dining table. This entire space was multifunctional for them. It also, in the background, was the office for the father, Mike Brady, and he could look into the living room area or close the shutters for privacy when he needed to. You take the kids' room, for instance. Marsha and Jan, they would all play together. They'd sleep in this room, but they do their homework there. You know, they would play there. It provided so much multifunctionality for them. And then you take even their family room. This family room was just immaculately for me back then. You know, they could sit at the table and socialize, play games, do their homework, or they could lounge in the side chairs on the side, you know, and just enjoy one another's company. So it was a great family room that gave them flexibility and provided multi-purpose. So if I could imagine talking to Carol Brady right now, this is what I think she'd say. I can proudly say that our Brady home was the perfect example of multi-purpose space. Our versatile family hobby room and the kids shared bedrooms that doubled as study play areas easily supported the idea that intentional design can meet the design needs of a large, busy family. That's my conversation with Carol Brady. It's an imaginary one. But here are some fun facts about the Brady home that I just wanted to see if any of you guys know about. The actual home didn't have this layout at all. This was a set design. So even the set designers knew that this is the way a family like this or families of America may want to live. And it will allow them as a large family to function the way they needed to. So it was a set design. It's reportedly the second most photographed home in the United States, trailing the White House. Not sure if we knew that. And it was purchased and remodeled by HGTV, if anybody saw that last year. It was remodeled for $5.5 million, but it sold for $3.2 million, okay? it basically is sold to a self-described fan with no intention of ever living in it because it was just too defined. Who's really going to make, she said, pork chops and applesauce, in that green and orange kitchen. But that was a house that I wanted to kind of present as the ultimate flexibility. So I want us to just think of it, have fun with that. But for a moment, I need you to visualize something. Take a moment, close your eyes, and do something for me. I want you to think about a room in your home that you use often. Imagine all the activities that you wish you could do there. Visualize the design or the decor modifications that could make it all possible. And I want you to take a moment to see your room transformed in your mind. This is a room that you use often. Okay? Great. What does that room look like for you? Keep your eyes closed because I want you to think about something else and visualize this. Choose a room in your home that you think could be better utilized. What do you currently use it for? Think about the activities that you wish you could do in that space. Visualize the simple changes or additions that could help you achieve this goal. And I want you to imagine the possibilities. Now, this is something, again, that I think that we could all do. Now, some of us, we may have our homes in a position where we already, in a situation where it's perfectly fine. It meets all of our needs, and that's great. But is there one room that could be better utilized, better presented in a more multifunctional fashion? That's what that was meant for you to think about. So I think when we think about having multi-purpose flexible living spaces, I like, for me as a designer, to think about the 4 important itties. I call them the 4 important itties, ITYs, the must-haves, okay? In order to have a flexible living space. The first one, versatility. Okay, the space serves various purposes depending on your family's needs. That's a very important must-have when it comes to having this type of space. Functionality. It accommodates your need to perform different activities. Practicality. It maximizes the use of space and it allows for flexibility of use. And then, of course, personality. We can't forget that. It's adaptable to your lifestyle and it reflects who you are. Those are 4 important must-haves that even a buyer is going to look for when they want to have this type of space. Now I want us to reimagine or to think about how far we've come when it comes to these flexible living spaces in our home. And we're seeing this now, and I'm sure you, as those of you that are realtors, are seeing a lot of this. We reimagined from the 70s to now, and now it's coming to fruition where our cooking spaces are becoming gathering spaces. Okay. We see our kitchen as a special hub for social interaction. We use open design concepts. Okay. We have maximized seating options to facilitate communication and activity flow within the kitchen and other living areas. So this is something that we're all seeing: larger islands, extended islands, extendable dining tables. Okay. Double islands, triple islands, even sometimes, banquet tables like we see here on the side, and built-in workstations in our kitchen areas. Those things allow for our kitchens to function as gathering spaces, as workspaces even, okay? So incorporating these things into our spaces have become extremely important, and it's transformed our kitchen into these types of spaces that make living in our homes even more enjoyable. I don't know what I did there. Sorry about that. I'm going to catch up. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's talk about another space in our homes. Our sleeping spaces have become lounging spaces now. We've integrated technology and smart storage options to enhance convenience and efficiency for spaces that support multiple family members. We need to design bedrooms for multi-use using neutral paint colors, planned furniture layouts, built-in or mobile room dividers. This is a great way of doing this. Neutral color schemes help connect activity zones with a calm backdrop. So a lot of times when we paint the room a neutral color and we have different activities on different sides of the room or different areas of our space, it helps brings it together because we can add the colors and the accents in our using our accents and our other decor accessories. And that kind of helps, again, bring that room together. But starting off with a neutral color palette is a great way to just make sure that we don't confuse the space, okay? Double-sided fireplaces help separate the zones for different activities. And that's a really good popular one that I think now we've seen used, but it's great to kind of, maybe make those suggestions. It's a great way to divide these zones up for maybe sitting on one side and lounging or sleeping on the other side, or even if they're in our living room spaces to, lounging in and entertaining in our living rooms and have the other side be visible in the kitchen spaces. So as we cook, we also have the experience of cooking in front of a fireplace as well. They're just great ways to separate those zones. And reimagining our workspaces. Now, this is one that I know that we hear and, a lot, and we see often in our spaces. And so this is, I think, something that we really it's becoming a lot more popular. Our workspaces are becoming different types of zones. They're becoming play zones. They're becoming Zen spaces. And so this is, I think, where we definitely see a lot of functionality, more functionality being used. An office with versatility, functionality, and practicality enhances its overall usability. And most importantly, that appeals to the home's ability to provide a sense of wellness that you need. But be sure to select furnishings and decor that's not only multifunctional, but also comfortable and stylish. Okay, so that work plays in, we're seeing that a lot. And it's great if you can have some type of, again, curtain or sliding door or something to divide those spaces in case you need some privacy or have to take a call or something like that. But this is something since COVID, we are seeing a lot of the need for this, okay? COVID, if nothing else, it left us wanting more out of our homes. It left us feeling like we're demanding more out of our living spaces. And so this is just a great way to do that with so many people now having to work from home and still, watch their kids or some schooling their kids and things like that. Reimagining our backyards, a topic that we talked about in our last presentation. Our backyards are now become our entire outdoor living space. And I think that's extremely amazing of all the wonderful things that we're seeing now in our backyards. So having a multi-purpose outdoor living space is essential to maximizing the functionality and the enjoyment of a home. Offering areas for relaxation, for entertainment, and recreation in one cohesive environment is important. So this versatility not only enhances your lifestyle by providing diverse settings for various activities, but it also increases the property's value and appeals to potential buyers. National Association of Home Buyers and House have definitely supported this fact. So let's talk about design ideas for creating flex spaces. Now, of course, we can use area rugs and things like that. It's been said that rugs are a great way for helping us separate our living spaces, introducing a new activity zone. And so that's always going to be the case. Rugs are a great way to do that. But a lot of times we're spending money on these beautiful new hardwood floorings, and we don't always want to put rugs on top of them. But another way that we can do this to create these zones is we want to make sure that we have lighting that defines different activity areas, okay? So this makes the space feel organized and intentional when we do things like this. using different types of lighting is extremely important as we design these flex living spaces. So lighting is huge. Ambient light illuminates a room. Task lighting enhances visibility. And then, of course, accent lighting directs attention to a specific place. And I think it's great to try to incorporate all of these various types of lighting in its appropriate place when you're planning out your flexible living space. Installing, again, sliding doors and pocket doors to create flexible partition spaces that can be easily opened or closed as needed. So that's another really good one. This will allow for privacy when a space is shared with others without sacrificing the style. And then pick a color palette and a cohesive design element that ensures the space feels unified. I mentioned that earlier. Okay, so when serving multiple purposes, multiple functions, having neutral color schemes can easily adapt to function changes. So as you're changing up a space, if you're ever needing to do that, go from an office into a play space or into a relaxation zone, neutral tones really, again, help us do that. Multi-purpose furnishing is huge when it comes to creating flexible living spaces. And these are just areas that, you just can't forget, of course. And there are some really wonderful products that are out there, new products always being introduced, again, because this is becoming so much more popular. You have people that are living in smaller spaces having to do so much more. And again, since COVID, we're demanding more out of our homes. And so the market is hot right now for products that can appeal to us and assist us with creating these types of spaces. Modular sofas are pretty much huge. Just about anyone looking at a sofa these days are looking at modular sofas. And so when you're looking at fitting things in a particular type of space, having a sofa that you can move around and gives you some versatility and it can adapt to your work, relaxation, or socializing, that's going to be huge. And so people are looking at spaces wanting to know if their modular sofa can fit in this space. So it may be good to even start with that. As you're showing a home, what kind of sofa do you have, or do you have two sofas? We're seeing that also more. So two sofas being used in one living room or family room space. You have sofas talking to each other. And so modular sofas, multiple sofas, all of this will help make the space more versatile. Raisable coffee tables. This is also another good one that we're seeing and selling more of. They offer functionality since they double as dining and workstation. So you can sit on your sofa and sit in your family room space. You can also, your family can eat there. They can work there. It's a workstation. So multiple uses out of these raisable coffee tables. Collapsible furniture solutions are huge. They provide practicality at its best. So Murphy beds, of course, they've been around for some time. But what about those Murphy tables as well? They pull down they are attached to the wall. These are space savers and game changers when it comes to creating these types of spaces. Large ottomans, of course, they bring versatile serving also as a coffee table. So though there's versatility when it comes to these large ottomans, and they come in so many styles now. You can just about get them in any style right now. So these large ottomans that you can sit in front of your living room setup, or your sofa setup. Put a tray on there, put your drinks on there, decorate it when you don't need it to be used for that. But these are just huge as well, and they serve as great tables. And then, of course, mobile cabinets and shelving units. These things can perform as room dividers easily while storing and displaying your decor. So, no matter the setup, they really perform very well. They help display your decor items very well, and they are great room dividers. Okay. So something that we are seeing a lot of, and I know Krisztina and I talked about this recently, everybody wants to have these laundry rooms that double as mud rooms and all these other types of spaces that, really just kind of give their home more appeal. And I'm sure we're probably seeing more requests for spaces like this, or people with a desire to make these changes in their homes. And so this things just helps you double the appeal of your home. Transforming a closet into a reading nook for your children. I mean, how cool is that, right? Showing anyone a house that, has a large enough room for their child and maybe has a second closet that may not necessarily be needed because children grow fast. And so they don't need as much clothes space, but they do need places to play. They do need places to kind of relax and get away from their siblings sometimes. So an extra closet that can double as a book nook, just mind changing. It's really cool. And of course the laundry rooms, again with the mud rooms, and then those hallway spaces that we tend to forget about. Why not make your basement hallway a drink cellar? So how cool would that be, showing a home buyer or something like that? And of course, if we have spouses or, we're showing these homes and, families are looking at them, just being able to offer a garage that doubles as a man cave, that's again, game changer. Things like that are just extremely cool and they just bring the appeal. So these things help appeal to broader range of buyers. They increase your home's perceived value as well. And they give yourself and your home a competitive edge with standing on your standout list. So future proof, and they make your property more desirable, of course, in the market. But the biggest thing, I think, and the benefit of having spaces like this is the money-saving piece of a multi-purpose space and a flexible living space, okay? And the idea of this is that we see down the road and in the future, and we see how we can sell this as a value to our families, as a value to the buyer, as a value to a seller, and more importantly, how we can really assure ourselves that it's a great way to go by supplying this need that we probably already have anyway. But having these types of spaces helps you avoid costs associated with building or remodeling additional rooms in your home. Multi-purpose spaces can help you not have to add another room on. If you need an office space, let's figure out how to, as we talked about earlier, transform that unused dining room space into something like this, not build on another room, but let's make it work for us, the space that we have, maximize the living space that we have. So it makes the most of existing square footage that we currently already have in our home. It's reducing the need for a larger home. It's higher, avoids having a higher mortgage because you've got a larger home. You feel like you had to get a larger home, of course, which avoids higher property taxes and higher maintenance costs. So all the way around, it's just to our advantage from a money savings perspective. And of course, it saves money on furniture and decor overall by avoiding purchases for separate spaces. So definitely see it as a money saving benefit. And I think about ways that we can plan ahead. This is for the person that you may be talking about or maybe looking at, if it's yourself, buying a new build, planning ahead with your new build and incorporating the idea and the desire of meeting the need for your flexible living space for you and your family. It's important to plan ahead for that. So things that you can begin to talk to your builder now about. Let's maybe see how we can install sliding and pocket doors now as we're looking at these things for our homes. Install them now. Ask the builder to include sliding and pocket doors that can easily open up and close to create separate zones within the home, okay? So especially if there's an open floor plan, just to give, again, that privacy and create those zones. We can pre-wire these spaces for future technology because that's going to be extremely important as we think about the future use in our home, and it can save you money. So have your builder pre-wire for versatile lighting, for smart home systems, and for extra outlets. Also include built-in storage solutions, okay, which would be huge. If you're thinking you might want that basement, hallway, cellar, drink station, or drink cellar, then go ahead and have them provide some built-ins in that hallway area automatically. Don't, unused space in corners, maybe put some bookshelves there, have them do some installs at that point so that way you don't have to pay for that cost later on. So request these built-in storage areas now so that they can be used for various purposes later on. And I just want to close with another story. I want to look at John and Lisa again. Okay. So let's go back to the John and Lisa. And let's hear about their next story or another story about them. So John and Lisa, they had always cherished their bustling home. With two energetic children, their house had been a constant whirlwind of activity. From play dates to birthday parties to study groups and sleepovers, every corner of their home was filled with laughter and love. Now, with both kids off to college, the once lively house felt quiet and empty. One evening, while reminiscing over old photos, they began to talk about their future, and they dreamed of downsizing and traveling more, visiting places they'd always talked about, but never really had the time to see. The idea of a simpler, more adventurous life excited them, and they decided to sell their beloved home. The process was quick, and soon they found a buyer. And on the last day, John and Lisa walked through each room, recalling the fond memories they had created. The multifunctional room, family room, had been a game room for them, a study space, and it was a movie theater. The versatile kitchen had hosted countless family dinners and holiday feasts. The cozy reading nook had doubled as a guest room during summer breaks. These multifunctional spaces had allowed them to maximize their home, save money, and create a wealth of memories for their family. As they closed the door for the final time, John and Lisa realized that their home had been more than just a place to live. It had been a sanctuary for laughter, for learning, and for love. The decision to design multifunctional spaces had enriched their lives so much in ways that they never imagined. Now, their hearts full, cherished memories, they were ready to embark on their next adventure, knowing that the essence of home was wherever they created new memories together. So with that, I think I'll take some question and answers about flexible living spaces and see what else we want to talk about as it relates to this topic.
Yeah, I know Murphy beds. My parents had a Murphy bed in a third bedroom of a condo, but then they could put it up, and then my dad's desk was across the way, so it was kind of part office. But then when I came home, that was where I slept.
Yeah.
So and I know they have those. In fact, in the new California Closet showroom, the Murphy bed is out. I mean, they have it pulled out now.
Oh,
Some of them
great.
are queen size, some of them are, a little bit
Oh,
smaller,
absolutely. Yeah.
but definitely they seem to it must have been a major thing to have that as, in the actual showroom when they first opened it up. So obviously it
Mhm.
must be something that's pretty common or popular. They had a designer who decorated the whole showroom. So
Yeah.
she dressed the bed and everything with the pillow, the comforter, and everything on it. I think they're great. In fact, that's what they had in studio when I first moved to Atlanta. I lived in a 550 square foot studio on a Murphy bed. That was my
There
bed,
you
but I
go.
actually I kept it out though, but I did do the screen on one side of it so that I could have my living area on the other, and I have my desk across. I fit a lot of furniture in that 550 square feet, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it was nice and cozy, and it fit. I was not cramped or anything, believe it or not. So
I think
those are
that
quite common.
you definitely have to see them as a comeback. I know that I remember growing up and being at my grandparents, and they had a Murphy bed. And, it rarely got used, but I understand the idea of why. They saw that was just additional sleeping space when, all the family got together or family traveled into town. But, they went away for some time and you didn't see them as much,
Right.
but again, as we went through the experience that we went through the past few years, family members, started kind of gathering together to kind of shelter in place together. And then we needed more sleeping spaces, we needed more gathering space. And so again, we started to demand more of our homes. And so there was an uptick on the sale of these types of products that we felt that really could help us, again, enjoy our living space more and accommodate us the way we needed for our homes to accommodate us. So I'm glad it's on an uptick, and I'm glad that the technology has improved, because we kind of needed that as well with a lot of these. You can get them in various sizes, and that's amazing too. But again, for what it does, it's worth the money of having to, you can get a Murphy bed unit that's attached to the cabinets, and in that, in its entirety, placed in a small bedroom, can serve as an office space, as well, because it's got the cabinets with the station for you to pull a chair up to, and you can pull it down at night. I know some people maybe want, think about the idea of pulling it up and down, but again, it's only going to be used when it's necessary. But it also is a yoga studio too, so it makes space for you to do other things, and so great idea.
Yeah, and I think that, a lot of this too is probably not only during COVID, but also, um, you know, short-term rentals and VRBOs and things like that. I mean, they're
Absolutely.
always trying to utilize some little nook and cranny or space as a yoga or this, or bring your dog or pet friendly, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. And so I think that's been a big draw as well for some of these furniture companies,
For sure,
and
for
builders and
sure. Yep.
contractors. So the demand is there too. The other thing that somebody mentioned yesterday, it was one of the agents in my class at Compass, was talking about how even the second home, like the lake house and the mountain house, they're bringing the bunk beds, that they're, it used to be kind of, bunk beds, you just kind of rolled them in or you built them or whatever. I know these are like literally in, the wall, they're permanent, and yet they're
Absolutely.
big
Yeah.
enough for not just the kids' bunk beds. These are like
But
bunk beds big
adults.
enough for, regular adults to get into, and everything with this
Sure.
little stairs
Sure.
up. And so I think there was an article coming out. I think there was an article in one of the Atlanta magazines about that, about bunk beds and how they're now being built in as a built-in
As a built-in, for
piece.
sure.
Yes.
And not just, as a built-in, but you can make a bunk bed a full size and a queen still a large, it's large. You've got a large space, especially if it's a second home and it's on the beach or in the mountains or wherever it is, and you've got a large space and room and you want to house more people, whether you use it as a rental or whatever, that's the perfect way to do that is use the built-ins aesthetic, and make these beds a full size, queen size if possible, and divide the room up, and build in some storage underneath storage as well for drawer space and things like that. A cubby as well for lighting and incorporate the lighting in the wall. So all of that is important and helps you maximize that space so that you can sleep more people in this space. So it's a great design aesthetic that we're seeing a lot more of. And I love it. But don't forget that you can make those beds just about any size now that you want to.
Yeah, as I think we were talking about before as well, is that so there was one DIYer I think I was looking at on Instagram, and she had literally taken the dining room and turned it into mudroom, pantry, and laundry room. Toward the whole dining room became three different multifunctional spaces.
Mhm.
And she did the before and after on it. I was like, what? I was like, holy cow, I didn't realize that what the popularity of the mud room.
Right.
And I'm from
I think if
Florida, so
you're
we don't really have mud room in Florida. So when
absolutely,
I was
I
in
was going to
here,
say that's going to be
yeah,
where it's most needed and most utilized. And some areas don't need mud rooms, of course, depending on where you're living. You don't use them as much. And so you're not seeing a huge demand for them in certain areas, but you may want to do something else with that laundry room and make it a workstation on the other side. We're also seeing now these butler pantries and all of these
yep,
things coming up. And so with the butler pantries, you can even make that multifunctional. So it's just important to, again, go back to the needs of what the family is, especially if you're don't have these things initially when you move into the home. As you're working on the planning, sit down and think about what are the needs for your family, because more than likely, if it's a need for your family as you grow into the home, you'll definitely utilize it. But if you ever decide to put the house on the market, it's probably going to be a desire for another family as well, or something again that's going to appeal to a larger market and set your house apart. So there's no necessarily money lost there. It'll get back to you what it needs to. But again, thinking about the memories of even John and Lisa and what it stood for and what it created for them, isn't that more valuable? The fact that you look back and you think of what having these types of spaces did for your family. Just think of the Bradys.
I know, I love that you started with the Brady Bunch thing. I was like, oh my God, no way. I didn't even think about anything like that. Oh, it was 6, 7, 8. It was because the housekeeper
That's
didn't live.
Alice. She did live
Yeah,
there. She
Alice,
lived around
she
the
did
kid.
live there.
Her
Oh gosh,
bedroom
so wait,
was
so
around
that's
the
6, 7,
kitchen
8.
where
That
the
was
laundry
9
room was.
people in that house.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
9 people in the house in the front
Mhm.
living area. I didn't even think about all that, how they did utilize it as multifunctional
But
spaces.
again, it's a perfect example of multifunctional
Yeah,
spaces, and
totally,
what they could
totally
do for
agree with
you.
you there. Any tips for multifunctional space design in older homes with smaller or oddly shaped rooms?
Again, we're thinking about older homes, and like I live in a home that's, I know, over almost 40 years old, I believe at this point. I consider that older for me, but when I think of some of the ways that they designed homes back in those days, they left a lot of, again, unused spaces. They left a lot of spaces or corners or, ceilings that, cut through the room in such a weird way. You got to figure out what to do with it. But to me, those make the perfect spaces for book nooks. A tiny library, for relaxing. So, placing a built-in for air within when you have rooms and spaces like that allows you to kind of enjoy the room in ways that you didn't think you could. And so it's about, again, sitting down and planning out the space, seeing what the possibility is. That's why I want us to close our eyes and think about these unused spaces that we don't use, and what would we want to see out of that room. And I'm pretty sure if you can probably imagine it, it can be done for the most part. It's just all about planning it out and then using those itties. Okay, does it find a way it provides functionality, practicality and versatility for you. So all of those things are important for you to really kind of maximize and get what you want out of that space. So that's why I listed those. But smaller spaces, that's where the multifunctional furniture comes in. You have those smaller rooms that these older homes gave you, and it's like, what are you going to put in that? Well, they make great yoga studios. They make great prayer closets, for those that want those. Great man cave, she caves. My husband, we had a room at the side of our garage that it's like it was storage. When we bought the house, it was like clearly a storage room, and it had the water heater and all this. Well, we recreated that into his man cave. It's a long, skinny room, but it's about 12, maybe 8 feet wide and 20 something feet long. And it's become his man cave that houses a chair and his refrigerator and his music and all of his oddities that he collects over his life. And he goes in there and completely enjoys himself. And he's in the garage. So I don't have to hear the music and the guitar. I'm teaching himself the guitar, but it serves a perfect use. And it was a space that we didn't know what to do with and why they even created it other than for storage. But we've transformed that space to give us more use out of it. So it's just an idea of what you can do with these older homes, but these oddity shaped rooms, yeah, they require a lot of imagination, but I guarantee you can work with it. I think I lost your sound, Krisztina. You're on mute.
I was
Okay.
muting because my husband's going in and out with some decor. We
Oh,
broke down a house and he's making noise with the closing end of the
I
door.
understand that.
Just coming back in, they're headed off to a staging now in the afternoon, but didn't want the door slamming noise to hear in the background. This was awesome. I love the Brady Bunch thing. That's good. And I'm glad we're recording this, by the way. So I'm going to try to advance my recordings and try to get them up. I want to start putting them up on a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel. It just doesn't get used. But I'm going to start trying to work on that and put more of these up there because we had a good one on the first one as well. And then I do short-term rental webinars. So we are going to do a third, I think, Lanada topic,
Okay.
and we might keep going. I don't know. We'll see how this happens.
I
We
enjoy
got to figure
it.
this out, and I love this presentation. This was really cool and learned a lot of it. I love the stats that you put in there too, because that's really helpful, especially when it's either a designer or even just real estate agents on there, because that kind of helps them be more knowledgeable what's happening in the industry.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Well, thanks everyone for joining.
There was a big crowd. There was at least 20 to 25 of you popping in and out, and
Oh,
out of,
great.
yeah, a lot of people very interested in this topic. So any other topics that you want us to talk about, you can email me. I'm going to put Lanada, pop your information in there one more time. I'm going to
Okay.
mine in
Sure.
there too. And
All right.
just
And it's on
me,
the
you can
screen as
do.
well. So you can always put
Yes,
your
it
phone
is.
up and
Sorry, I
scan
forgot
it, and
about
it'll
that.
take you right to my page. No worries.
And you can email me at kbell@novacancy-atl.com. You can also follow me at Krisztina Bell. Make sure you got the Z in there. I do have a Z in my name. We're going to do another webinar. So a couple things coming up. Home staging CE class. If you want to go see the California Closet Binding Showroom and you live in Atlanta and you need some CE classes, I am going to be teaching there next Wednesday, probably a small group, not a big group, small group. I got tons of Sherwin-Williams goodies. They loaded me up. And eventually, if you are a designer, I am going to do a color mix event here soon in November at the Chiarabella, I don't know how you say that,
All right.
Chiarabella Gallery in Miami Circle. There is going to be a coffee kindness coming up as well, and it's an event that we allow people to come and learn a little bit more about the organization I mentioned, Furnished with Love. So if you do follow me on Facebook or Instagram, Instagram's the better area there. I always kind of post these webinars, my CE classes coming up on our website, and then also on my bio on Instagram. And then in my stories, you'll see some other events happening. Again, I collaborate a lot with different companies and organizations and with women business owners and everybody in the design industry. So everybody's like, how do you have time for all this? I'm like, I just kind of work it in. But it's a lot of fun. And if you get to take my paint CE class, you can join me. We'll be over at the Atlanta Decorative Arts Center in September. That's another CE class as well. I've already got a handful of people signed up for that. And just stay tuned, everybody. And please feel free to follow or email me. I'll follow you right back. It's all about supporting each other in the business. And again, if there's any other cool topics or trends, I'm trying to come up with the good ones here. And like I said, Lanada and I are going to keep it going as long as this is kind of beneficial for everybody and you guys want to know more. Just feel free to reach out to me. Like I said, I love to connect, collaborate, market with you. How can I help you grow your business? And that's what I'm doing with Lanada. I hope she gets some leads or maybe some calls, and you just never know who you might meet and all that and get to know each other. So that's what kind of this is all about. And I learned a lot today, by the way, too. So,
Okay.
and it keeps me more knowledgeable as well so that I can talk about stuff like this in my classes too. So it helps everybody. But thank you guys for joining. Again, it is recorded, so I'm going to try to see where I can get it up there if you want to see a repeat of it. I'm going to work on that and send out to everybody, get you on an email list, and look forward to the next third one. And I will see you, I think, soon, right, Lanada?
All right. Sounds
Are we
good.
gonna do it, I think, next month, or I can't remember what the date is. We'll figure
I
it
need to
out.
look at that again. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that again. But
Okay. I'm sure
thanks,
you'll send
guys.
something out.
And
Bye-bye. Thanks,
see you later.
everyone. Oh, bye,
Yay.
Bridget.
We'll talk to you guys soon and
Thanks,
see
guys, for
everybody.
showing up. All right. Take care.
Take care.